Welcome to Scenario, the in-depth podcast and reviews.
Hi there.
Today, we're taking a deep dive into the Moncler story, the Italian luxury brand, famous for that outerwear.
Right. Instantly recognizable. And it's pretty amazing when you think about it.
It really is. I mean, they just reported, $1.23 billion in revenue for Q1 2024? That's up 8%.
Yeah, huge numbers.
But they started out making quilted sleeping bags. How does that even happen? How do you go from functional gear to this global luxury giant? That's what you need to understand.
Exactly. That's the journey we want to map out today. We've been looking at a transcript from a YouTube channel, Sky's to Limit, called The Moncler Story from Beginning till 2024.
Okay.
And our mission, really, is to figure out Moncler's path. The early days, the financial struggles they definitely had, and the key idea, the pivot that made them what they are today.
All right, let's start at the beginning then. We're talking 1952, Monestier de Clermont in France. Sounds picturesque.
Very much so, in the Alps. And it was founded by René Ramelin and André Vincent.
And their first products, it sounds like they were super practical. Not fashion at all yet.
Not at all. Pure function. Tents, those quilted sleeping bags you mentioned, just gear for people heading into the mountains, for alpinists.
Right.
But what's interesting is even then, the focus was on quality, gear that worked in tough conditions. That reputation for reliability, it started right there.
Okay, so the foundation was there early on.
Yeah.
And then they moved into the down jackets, the ones they're famous for now.
Exactly. Down jackets became the signature piece, plus gloves, other accessories, all designed for really harsh climates.
And who were they selling to initially? Just locals?
Pretty much. Mountaineers, workers, skiers, mostly in France to start, but it didn't take long for word to spread.
Across Europe, it seems.
Yeah, pretty quickly. Think about this. 1954, just 2 years in, Moncler jackets go to K2 with the Italian expedition.
Wow. K2. That's serious validation.
Absolutely. Then the French expedition to Makalu in 55. And in 64, Lionel Terre's French expedition to Alaska. Moncler was the official supplier.
So these weren't just ads. This was real-world proof. Extreme proof.
Totally. It cemented their reputation, durability, reliability. This is how they started becoming known globally for high-performance outerwear.
And wasn't there something with the Olympics, too?
Yes. 1968, the Winter Olympics in Grenoble, France. The French downhill ski team wore Moncler.
And they did well.
They won multiple gold medals. So you connect that visibility, that association with winning, with peak performance. It really fueled their growth.
Okay, so a strong start, building a great reputation, high-profile wins.
Yeah.
It sounds like they were set for a long time.
For a good period, yes. Unimpeded growth, you could say.
But things change, especially in fashion and retail. So fast forward, late 90s, early 2000s. The transcript mentions financial challenges starting then.
It does, and it wasn't just one thing. It was kind of a perfect storm.
Like what?
Well, for starters, fashion trends shifted. Those classic quilted jackets, they weren't quite as in anymore, Customer tastes changed.
Okay, styles evolve.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And competition increased. Suddenly, there were loads more brands offering different kinds of outerwear, more choice for consumers.
Right, the market got crowded. Were there bigger economic factors, too?
Definitely. You had global uncertainty, and specifically a French recession in the early 90s. That impacts spending, especially on, luxury items.
People cut back.
Exactly. And the transcript notes management changes during this time, too. Several entrepreneurs involved until 2003. That kind of instability doesn't usually help when you're facing headwinds.
So by 2003, the picture wasn't great. Near bankruptcy, stagnation, despite that amazing history.
Precisely, which sets the stage perfectly for the big turning point.
Remo Ruffini.
Remo Ruffini, the Italian entrepreneur who steps in and acquires Moncler in 2003.
What was his background? Did he come from fashion?
He did, actually. Born in Como, Italy, 1961. His parents were both in the clothing industry. Father had a business in New York. Mother had her own company. So, yeah, fashion was sort of in his DNA.
Right. And he worked for his father, founded his own company called New England when he was only 23.
Sold that in 2000. And interestingly, just before buying Moncler, he was a creative consultant for its parent company.
Ah, so he knew the brand. He wasn't coming in totally cold.
Exactly. He saw the potential, the heritage, but also saw it was, stuck, near bankrupt, like you said.
So what was his big idea, his vision?
His vision was transformative. He wanted to take Moncler out of just sports shops and reposition it, make it a high-fashion luxury brand.
That's a huge leap.
Massively, and not just targeting the typical luxury crowd. He wanted to appeal broadly from like skateboarders to high-end consumers, create a whole new market space for them.
How did he start? What were the first steps?
Key move,
Yep.
relocating the company HQ to Milan. Big signal right there, fashion capital.
Okay.
Then a relentless focus on elevating everything, innovative designs, really focusing on craftsmanship, using premium materials. The jackets themselves started changing, becoming more high-tech, more fashion-forward.
Repositioning the core product itself.
Yeah.
Makes sense. What else? What specific strategies did he use to pull off this transformation?
Well, one really smart move, starting around 2004, was collaborations, bringing in outside designers.
Oh, interesting. Like who?
Big names, even then. Nicola Ghesquiere, Junior Watanabe, Christopher Rayburn, Sekai. People who brought a real high fashion edge.
Injecting new creative energy.
Exactly. And he expanded the product range way beyond just jackets. Footwear, accessories, luxury sportswear, making it more of a lifestyle brand.
So you could buy into Moncler in different ways, not just the big puffer jacket.
Precisely. Then came the retail strategy. Flagship store in Paris in 2008, huge statement. And then pushing hard into new markets, especially Asia.
Which is crucial for luxury growth.
Absolutely. He also created distinct lines, Gamma Rouge for women, really couture-like, designed by Giambattista Valli. Moncler Grenoble, sticking closer to the classic sportswear vibe.
Okay, different angles.
Yeah, and Moncler Long Saison ultralight stuff for warmer weather. And Tom Brown did Gamme Bleu for men. Very distinct. It allowed them to experiment, but also keep the core identity strong.
Wow. That's a multi-pronged attack.
Did it work?
Financially.
Did it ever? The transcript gives the numbers. Sales went from about $62 million in 2003 when he took over
Okay.
to $368 million by 2010.
Whoa. That's incredible growth in just 7 years.
Phenomenal turnaround. And it didn't stop there. 2013, they go public. IPO valuation, $3.6 billion.
Just a decade after he bought a near-bankrupt company. Amazing.
Truly. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. The transcript mentions a bump in 2014.
Ah, yes, the animal welfare issue. With the down feathers, that must have been serious.
It was a real potential crisis. There was footage, public outcry. It hit right at the core of their product.
How did they handle it?
They seem to have acted decisively, came out strong, emphasizing commitment to humane sourcing. They published transparency reports, detailed their supply chain, invested in certified processes. They addressed it head on.
Which seems crucial for maintaining trust, especially in luxury.
Absolutely. And it looks like it worked. Sales recovered the next year, 2015. They even opened a new store in Tokyo. It showed resilience.
And throughout all this, marketing must have been key, keeping the brand image strong.
Oh, massively. Heavy investment in brand promotion, using social media, digital platforms really effectively, reaching younger people, but still feeling exclusive and luxurious. It's a tricky balance.
Definitely. Which kind of leads us to the Genius Project, right? Launched in 2018. What was that all about? It sounds different.
It really was, and still is, quite innovative. It's basically a hub, a platform. Instead of one creative director, they invite a whole collective of different designers.
Okay.
And these designers create their own capsule collections, their interpretation of Moncler, and they release them frequently, like monthly collaborations.
So constant newness. Who were some of these designers?
Really high caliber people. J.W. Anderson, Simone Rocha, Craig Green, Pierpaolo Piccioli from Valentino. Just a stellar lineup.
That's impressive. It's not just about clothes then. It feels like it's about generating buzz, staying relevant.
Exactly. It put Moncler right into pop culture conversations. They did huge events, too, like that Nine Wonders show in London in 2023, Alicia Keys, Pharrell Williams performing.
Huge media moment.
Definitely. And the collaboration with Jay-Z earlier this year, 2024, Moncler x Rock Nation, that's embedding the brand and culture.
And who is this Genius Project aimed at? Is it shifting their customer base?
It seems very much targeted at attracting millennials, Gen Z. You know, the limited editions, the social media hype, plus a growing focus on sustainability, which matters a lot to those groups.
Right. So even if those specific Genius collections aren't the bulk of the sales.
Their impact on the brand's image, its coolness factor, its connection with younger luxury consumers, it's huge. Ruffini's innovation, plus this whole trend towards casual luxury, it gave outerwear real high fashion status.
So Moncler found this sweet spot, didn't they? Somewhere between the really old-school luxury houses and the newer streetwear-influenced brands.
Precisely. A unique space. And they're still evolving. The Stone Island acquisition in 2020 was a big move.
Yeah, what was the thinking there? Bringing another brand under the umbrella.
It signals ambition, becoming more of a multi-brand group. Stone Island has its own distinct identity, very focused on innovative materials, menswear.
So it complements Moncler.
Exactly. Diversifies their offerings, strengthens their position, especially in high-end menswear. But the idea is to keep the brands distinct, let Stone Island be Stone Island, while maybe leveraging Moncler's operational strength.
Smart. And the overall financial health seems strong.
Very strong. The transcript mentions steady profit growth between 2013 and 2021, and global revenue hit $2.6 billion in 2022.
Wow. And Asia is now their main market.
That's what the source indicates, yeah. Shows how successful that global expansion strategy has been.
So looking back at the whole story, it's really about transformation, isn't it?
Absolutely. From functional mountain gear to a global luxury player through strategic vision, relentless innovation, and a really clever understanding of brand positioning and modern marketing.
An adaptable, forward-thinking brand? Seems like they're set up for a promising future.
Based on this trajectory, yes, it's quite a case study.
It really is. Makes you wonder what they'll do next.
Always innovating.
That's all with it. Thank you for listening to us. Subscribe if you want to listen to other podcasts and hear from us again.